Hello. Okay, testing my mic. Okay, I need to check my mic. Okay, I think my mic is okay. My mic is okay, line is okay, Wi-Fi is okay, okay. Okay, so now it's already 8 o'clock, so we will start our class now. Okay, so for today, we will continue about the chapter 7, gases exchange. Okay, so last week we already covered about the human 7.1, right? Gases exchange in human, the first half part about the human respiratory tract structure and also the uh, structure of hemoglobin and also the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide in blood, right? So today we will continue about the oxygen dissociation curve, Bohr effect, and also the breathing mechanism only. So the next week we will finish up the chapter. This chapter, that we next week we will learn about the gaseous exchange in plant lah. So for today we will finish up the human part. Human part. Okay, so today we will firstly we will go to the oxygen dissociation curve. Okay, so actually, what is the oxygen dissociation curve? What does it mean? What it tell you? Why you want to learn this? Okay, so if you see this term, oxygen dissociation. So if you see this term, what is mean by dissociation? So in chemistry, I think in chemistry you learn this term many times, right? Especially in chemical reaction. So dissociation meaning is that how much of oxygen is about oxygen bind to the hemoglobin become the oxyhemoglobin. How much of oxygen can be saturated? You means do you guys know what is saturated, right? Saturated means that all of the oxygen are total all of the oxygen molecule can be bound to the hemoglobin in saturated point, meaning that all the hemoglobin in our blood, in our body, is already fully occupied with the oxygen, totally fully occupied. So at that point, at that point, even though you have more high concentration of oxygen, the hemoglobin also cannot bind with the oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin already because it already reached the saturated point. So same as the dissociation. Dissociation meaning that it is the measurement how much of hemoglobin will bound to the oxygen bound to the oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. So based of the partial pressure of oxygen. So if you see this curve, so this is the general curve about the oxygen dissociation curve. Okay, so if you see this curve, there are three lines, right? Red line, blue line, and green line. So what does it? So meaning that in our syllabus, we will learn three types of oxygen dissociation curve, which are myoglobin, hemoglobin, and fetal hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is normal one. As a normal adult, we have this kind of curve, which is this second one, the middle line one, blue line one. And then we have also red line one, which is known as myoglobin. Later we will see it. What is myoglobin? And also the green line is about the fetal hemoglobin. So fetal hemoglobin is the baby one, the baby stage, or in the not baby, during the pregnancy, woman is in pregnant, the fetus also have their own hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin structure is differ from the adult hemoglobin one. Although it is also known as hemoglobin, but the structure of the fetal hemoglobin is differ from the adult hemoglobin one. So that is why that the curve is different from the normal adult hemoglobin. You see this. So what does this curve have? You see that the y-axis is the oxygen saturation. So oxygen saturation meaning that how much of oxygen is bound with the hemoglobin. So you see here, this is 100%. So this is the saturation point, meaning that when the partial pressure of oxygen reach the saturation point, at this point is horizontal, meaning no, even though your oxygen is very high, your oxygen concentration is very high, you see here, more than 80 or 90 like that, even though your oxygen pressure is more than 90 and or even more than 100, your oxygen saturation point is already fixed already. So if you see this curve, the curve shape is totally different. If you see here, myoglobin is easily reach oxygen saturation point one compared to the other two. You will see here. Awak boleh tengok dia macam vertical one. If you see here, you see this blue one, hemoglobin is dia macam ada curve sikit, right? The curve or have the curve and have the curve yet. But for the myoglobin, the curve you see here is totally vertical. Totally vertical and easily reach the saturation point compared to hemoglobin. So what does it mean? You need to explain this curve. Dia bagi awak makna apa? Why it look like this? And also you need to beza pembezaan mereka. differentiate them, why they look like this, why they show this kind of curve, and what does this curve tell you. Okay, so firstly, we will learn about the normal one, which is the oxygen dissociation curve of hemoglobin. The normal hemoglobin, like as me and you, me and you, all of everyone have this kind of hemoglobin structure, hemoglobin curve. So you see the actually same as what you see here. What you see here, this one just more detail, more detail. So what does it tell me? So normally it's the relationship between the partial pressure of oxygen and percent saturation of hemoglobin lah. What I mean lah. So the S-axis is about the partial pressure of oxygen. So the unit is we are using the mmHg. Thor is the American unit. American unit. Is the American unit. So in British, for us, we are using mmHg. So when exam want you to draw the illustrate to sketch the curve anyway, so your axis is should be mmHg lah. Not recommend you write Thor. Also correct. You want to write Thor, actually is correct, but Thor is in American style. American style. And also the saturation point, the y-axis is about the saturation. So normally it's percentage. You can write this percentage. 0% until 100%. Okay. Okay. So what does it mean? So if you see this curve, if you see that when the oxygen concentration is increased, if you see it, when it is increasing, the curve, the saturation, the percentage of saturation is slightly increased, or we call as progressive increase. That increase is increase in progressive manner. Progressive manner. Manner. Okay, so if you see here, when the partial when the oxygen concentration is very high, it is very easily to reach the saturation point compared to the low oxygen concentration. Oxygen partial pressure, sorry, oxygen partial pressure lah. Oxygen concentration or oxygen partial pressure is correct, up to you, but we recommend using partial pressure lah. Okay. So if you see here, when the oxygen concentration is increasing, the curve, the percentage of the hemoglobin that combined with oxygen is also increased. And then the shape of the curve is known as sigmoid shape. This is very important. Sigmoid shape. This curve is known as sigmoid shape. Okay, so what does this shape tell you is when it produce this kind of shape, this indicate that when the oxygen bind with when the first oxygen molecule is bind to the first hem group of hemoglobin, the hemoglobin, it can facilitated the binding of the second, third, and fourth oxygen. So this one I think I already tell you in last week. If you will still remember the structure of hemoglobin, you still remember structure of hemoglobin contain 4 polypeptide chain, right? So each polypeptide chain will contain one hem group. So each oxygen molecule will bind to the each hem group. So one hemoglobin will have 4 oxygen atom, oxygen molecule to bind it. So when the first oxygen molecule is bind to the first hem group, so the hemoglobin will change their shape, and it will facilitated the second binding and third and fourth binding of the oxygen to the hemoglobin. So this sort of binding behavior is referred to as cooperative. So it cooperative. Cooperative meaning it is cooperate. Ada saling bekerja sama punya. Dia bukan macam tak bekerja sama punya. Meaning that if it is uncooperative, meaning that when the first oxygen is bind to the first hem group, it will not facilitated. Not facilitated. Meaning the second oxygen also require higher energy and require specific amount you need to increase up certain pressure of oxygen baru oxygen tu boleh baik dekat second hand group. So this is what we mean as uncooperative. But it is cooperative, meaning that it is actually binding when the first binding is bind, it will change the hemoglobin site. So if you see here, because the binding variation at individual site in each hemoglobin molecule are not independent of one another. So ini maksud dia lah. Okay. 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 Okay, so normally when the for oxygen for the normal hemoglobin in adult, when the partial of oxygen 100 mmHg normally it's already reached the saturation point. Normally it's already reached the saturation point already. And about the 40, and when the partial pressure is about 40 mmHg, normally is at the resting tissue stage. This stage is that the from the partial pressure starting from 40 to 100, meaning that this point is the person at rest. Kami rehat, tak buat apa-apa exercise punya. Macam sekarang lah, awak baca buku, tonton, tengok television, main game, semua ni awak rasa relax punya, tak ada buat apa-apa punya. Meaning this point. So if in exam, when it ask you this one is what are the conditions you need to know lah. This part is that the person is during rest. Kerana masa ni many oxygen is bind to the binding oxygen is bound to the hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin is have the enough oxygen at all. Have the enough oxygen. So this time the person is at the rest one. Ada hemoglobin yang cukup lah. Okay. And then if you see here, the at the very low part, at the partial pressure of 15 mmHg, hemoglobin can release much more oxygen to metabolically very active tissue during exercise. So if let's say when your partial pressure of the oxygen in your blood, all of these partial pressure, what I say is in blood, what are the things that you say is in the blood one? So if your blood partial pressure of oxygen is very low, meaning that your hemoglobin is infinity to the oxygen. Meaning that all of the oxyhemoglobin will start to release all the oxygen molecule. The oxygen will not bind to the hemoglobin, but it will release. It will release it. So normally when the people in the exercise state, the all of the oxyhemoglobin will be released. Oxyhemoglobin will release oxygen molecule. It will not, the oxygen molecule will not bound to the hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. So normally the formation of oxyhemoglobin is at here, tissue at rest, or at the lung. At here, only at here. So I think this one. So hopefully you need to know lah what does this. So meaning oxygen unloaded to tissue at the base, meaning that at this point is that the point that the oxyhemoglobin release the oxygen at here. Because because at here at this kind of point, the oxygen concentration is memang cukup. So badan kami tidak perlu banyak oksigen punya. Kerana dah cukup lah, memang cukup. So kami tak perlu banyak, sel kami, tisu kami tak perlu banyak oksigen sangat banyak. But at the point with the when your oxygen concentration in blood in your tissue is very low, normally is you are doing exercise lah. So when you awak buat activity senam like badminton, swimming, jogging, or anywhere when you do exercise, your partial pressure of oxygen in blood is very low because your tissue, your cells are need oxygen. Dia memerlukan oksigen yang sangat banyak. So at this time, all of the oxyhemoglobin will release out all the oxygen molecule. So at this point, your hemoglobin saturation point is very low. So you need to know the graph lah. Okay. Okay, so that's all for hemoglobin oxygen dissociation curve. So I need to see any question or not. Okay. No question. Okay. 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 So if no question, then we proceed to myoglobin. So now we go to the myoglobin part. Okay. 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 Now we go to the myoglobin part. Okay. Okay. So firstly, you need to know what is myoglobin. If you want to learn about the myoglobin oxygen dissociation curve, you need to know what is myoglobin first. So actually, myoglobin is the adik untuk hemoglobin lah. Apa maknanya? It is also one type of protein molecule. Also one type of protein molecule, but then it is the tertiary structure and it is the globular protein. So the main difference is the structure of the main difference from the hemoglobin is its structure. Hemoglobin is quaternary structure, right? So it contains 4 polypeptide chains. So you know that if it is say quaternary structure, meaning that it contains more than 1 polypeptide chain, what you will call as quaternary structure that you will learn in semester 1. So myoglobin is in tertiary structure. So what is mean by tertiary structure? Meaning it is the only contain single 3D polypeptide strain only. So it is the 3D shape also. So 3D shape same as the hemoglobin, just that it only contains single polypeptide only. And also it contains heme group same as the hemoglobin, right? But then just that because it only contains 1 polypeptide chain, so 1 myoglobin only contains 1 heme group only. Compared to hemoglobin contains 4 polypeptide chains, so it contains 4 heme group in 1 molecule. But in myoglobin, because it only has 1 polypeptide chain, so it only has 1 heme group only. Okay, so has only 8 helical region, so it is a helical shape. The 3D shape is made from 8 helical folding. You know, if you still remember what is helical binding that you learned in semester 1 secondary structure, right? So it is made up of 8 helical, so meaning is is bound have the 8 the 3D shape is contributed by the 8 helical bonding lah. Okay, and this is only 1 heme group, so 1 myoglobin only can bind 1 oxygen only. Compared to hemoglobin, 1 hemoglobin can bind 4 oxygen, but myoglobin only can bind 1 oxygen. And then where it is present, so normally it is only found in muscle tissue. Dia dapat dekat muscle je. Hemoglobin can be found in anywhere, even though your muscle anywhere. In any cell tissue that have the metabolic activity, then you can find all hemoglobin at there. But myoglobin, it is badly found in the muscle tissue only. Only found in muscle tissue. Other tissue, yeah, maybe you can find it, but it's very little, even though absent also. But it all normally it found in all the muscle tissue. So in muscle tissue, you can extract myoglobin. Okay, so now you already learned about the structure of myoglobin lah. So you need to know also, even though syllabus dia tak mention pun, you want to outline the structure of hemoglobin, but because you need to learn about the oxygen dissociation curve, so you need to learn lah. You just have a knowledge lah, unless you have a knowledge lah, because this is very important when you want to expand the curve. So why is very important? So if you see here, I already mentioned that the curve for myoglobin is totally different from the hemoglobin. You see here, the curve is more if shift to the left hand side one. Hemoglobin is at here, right? Hemoglobin at here, at the right hand side one. But myoglobin is in the left hand side. And then the vertical line you see here, that even though when the partial pressure of oxygen in the blood start increase, then it totally increase like roller coaster. Totally increase like roller coaster one. It very easily reach the saturation point, even though at here only. Meaning that if you see this diagram, even only when the pressure concentration only 2 torr or 2 mmHg, then it already reached the 50%. 50% saturation point. So why it's like this? The main reason is because of the it only contain one polypeptide chain. Compared to hemoglobin, if you want to reach saturated, very difficult because it contain four polypeptide chain. So awak kena isi satu baru saturated. But for myoglobin, satu je. Satu then saturated. Tak boleh lah. Awak ada oksigen banyak pun dia tak boleh lah. Saya dah makan kenyang lah, dah kenyang lah. Tapi hemoglobin nak kenyang, nak 4 oksigen. Tapi myoglobin nak kenyang hanya 1 oksigen, then boleh kenyang lah. Itu makna dia lah. So that is why that myoglobin is easily to reach the saturation point one. Okay, so when the degree of saturation myoglobin with oxygen is plotted, curve rise sharply. So it rise sharply one. Like macam roller coaster punya. Very sharp one. Sharp one. Until complete saturation is approached and the curve level off. And then this curve shape what we call as hyperbolic lah. So this look like hyperbolic function, right? You still remember what is hyperbolic function that you learned in maths, right? Maths Sem 1. Although already gone, you already passed it, but you still remember it look like the hyperbolic function, right? So this is what we call as this shape curve is hyperbolic. Okay, hyperbolic shape. Okay, and then the half saturation of the binding site are at the very low value. Already say indicate that the oxygen bind with high affinity to myoglobin. So meaning that actually oxygen has a higher affinity toward the myoglobin compared to hemoglobin. So when there are two component hemoglobin and myoglobin, oxygen tu dia lebih suka daripada myoglobin. Dia tak suka hemoglobin. Macam myoglobin itu girl lah, itu girlfriend, itu perempuan. And then dia ada lelaki A and B. So lelaki A ada hemoglobin, lelaki B myoglobin. And then girl lebih suka lelaki B, lelaki myoglobin punya. Dia tak suka hemoglobin punya. So kalau dia suka hemoglobin, memang dia akan kahwin dengan dia lah. Macam tu lah. Lebih suka dengan dia lah compared to hemoglobin. So this what make one of the main difference lah. One of the main difference. And then another difference is curve shape lah. Hyperbolic, and also this one lah. At the initial, the hemoglobin is increasing progressively, but this one is increased very sharp. So what the differences? Yeah, you need to know all these differences. Okay. Also I already mentioned this. The differences. So the differences, the curve shape I already mentioned. Hemoglobin is sigmoid, and then myoglobin is hyperbolic, and then hemoglobin is low affinity to oxygen, and myoglobin is high affinity because it in the left hand side. It's very easily to reach the saturation point. And then the half saturation of the binding site is very high. for hemoglobin, but for the myoglobin is very low lah. And then at the same partial pressure of oxygen, the saturation level of hemoglobin is high lah. And then but for the myoglobin is very low lah. So if you see here at the same if you at the okay, and then the hemoglobin is positive. The spatial characteristic is known as positive cooperatively, but for myoglobin, no, we cannot say it is positive cooperatively lah. For the curve shape. Okay, okay, okay. I think that's all. This is the differences between hemoglobin and myoglobin oxygen dissociation curve. Okay, another one is about the fetal hemoglobin. Okay, so I need to refer again. Any question or not? No question. Okay. Okay, now we go to the fetal hemoglobin. Okay, so fetal hemoglobin I already mentioned. Fetal meaning is the not baby, the uh in general we say baby lah. Baby in the pregnant lah. During the pregnant, the baby inside the mother body, we call this lah fetal hemoglobin. So this one, fetal hemoglobin, although it is one type of hemoglobin, but the structure is slightly different. So what are the different is that the fetal hemoglobin also contain 4 polypeptide chains, but then the polypeptide chains different from hemoglobin are it contain 2 alpha and 2 gamma. If you still remember about hemoglobin is 2 alpha and 2 beta. But the 2 beta one for fetal hemoglobin is replaced by gamma. Gamma change. So this kind of structure will result this kind of curve. Why? Okay, later we see it. The curve shape is same as the maternal or maternal hemoglobin like us. Actually, same as like us. It also have the sigmoid curve shape. The difference is it is shift to the right hand side compared to shift to the more slightly left hand side, slightly left hand side. If you compare to maternal hemoglobin. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So normally why it look like this? The oxygen binding affinity of fetal hemoglobin is higher than maternal hemoglobin, allowing efficient transfer of oxygen from the mother to the fetus. Yeah, why it want to like this? Because it want to ensure that fetal hemoglobin can allow and have the efficient gases exchange from mother to the fetus. So if the hemoglobin shape is totally same as the mother one, it will happen that the partial pressure of the oxygen between mother and fetus is totally different. Totally same. When it is same, meaning that there are no diffusion occur. Tak ada diffusion lah. No diffusion because the concentration is in the equilibrium. You still, chemistry, right? Equilibrium. So if equilibrium no shift, the chemical reaction cannot either shift to the left or to the right one. So if like this, no gases exchange will be occur between these fetal and maternal, mother and baby, tak boleh lah. So want to overcome it, the structure of the hemoglobin in fetus need to be changed. So when it's changed, the oxygen binding affinity of the fetus will be very high compared to mother one. Mother will be very low, quite low, but the fetus will be quite high. Why this? Because it need to allow the efficient transfer of oxygen from the mother to the fetus. Meaning that at the same point of oxygen, the oxygen will first bind to the fetal one. The oxygen will go to the fetal part first, before it go to the maternal part. Once it go to the fetal part, then baru dia pergi maternal part. So the oxygen will flow from paternal oxyhemoglobin to the fetal deoxyhemoglobin. So inilah reason dia kenapa dia nak ada perbezaan dia. Kalau tak ada ni, when E is equilibrium, memang no gaseous exchange at all lah. And then the baby itu akan mati lah kerana dia tak dapat oksigen. So it is very important for fetal hemoglobin to pull oxygen off from the maternal hemoglobin. So dia kena ambil oksigen daripada mother punya part. Mother punya part. Because mother already have the hemoglobin. And then when the mother doing gaseous exchange, the oxygen will directly bind to the oxyhemoglobin for mother part. And then if you still know, although you are not learning yet reproduction part, you know that the placenta, right? Placenta, the structure of placenta, all these you already know, you learn in Stpm. So you know that the placenta is the place that the gaseous exchange is occur. So when the mother blood is go through the placenta, the oxygen will be released from the oxygen will be released from the oxyhemoglobin, and then this oxygen will go to the fetal part. If not, meaning that this oxygen will not go to the fetal part, it will go to the other cell. Not necessarily akan pergi ke baby punya. Dia akan maybe pergi ke placenta punya cell, the placenta punya cell or mother punya cell. Because it equilibrium, no in the equilibrium state. So no tak ada cakap yang no first come first serve one. No cakap yang saya nak dahulu. Tak ada. Kalau if when the curve is same lah. But for now the curve is different, meaning that the fetus will get the oxygen more easily from mother part compared to the if the curve is same as the mother. Okay, so I think this is the fetal hemoglobin the curve of the hemoglobin. So that is why that the curve of the fetal hemoglobin is more slightly left hand side. Then the oxygen molecule is higher affinity toward the maternal part. And then I think this curve, this one I already made kesilapan. Should be the green color one should be the normal hemoglobin, and then biru punya is the fetal hemoglobin, and then the red one is myoglobin. So saya minta maaf kesilapan inilah. So the green color should be the normal adult hemoglobin and then blue one is the fetal hemoglobin, and then this red one is myoglobin. Okay, later I will change it. Okay, so I think that's all for the oxygen dissociation curve. So any question? No question. Okay, now I will go to the Bohr effect. Bohr effect. So Bohr effect actually is more will be focused on hemoglobin part lah. Okay, hemoglobin punya dissociation curve. So you need to very alert lah because Bohr effect is the famous part for this chapter lah. Okay. Okay, so you need to know the definition of Bohr effect. So actually, why we have this Bohr effect? This effect is caused by this Bohr effect is very important because it is the regulation of oxygen binding by hydrogen ion and carbon dioxide. Meaning that when the carbon dioxide concentration in our blood is changing, our oxygen binding also will be changed. So it regulates the oxygen binding. So in the situation of the low carbon dioxide concentration, what are the pattern that oxygen bind? What are the behavior that oxygen bind? Is it will bind to the hemoglobin, or it is more affinity to the hemoglobin, or it repel from the hemoglobin. And is it the oxyhemoglobin release more or release less? Inilah based on the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, it will affect the behavior of the oxygen. This is what we call as Bohr effect. Okay, so normally Bohr effect will happen when the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is increasing. So if you still see this diagram. So the right hand side is the our hemoglobin in normal way. In normal way, when we are best, kami berhad, inilah yang kami normal punya. But when the partial pressure of carbon dioxide increasing, meaning that normally is we are taking exercise lah. When you are doing exercise or you are very panic that require the cell metabolic activity is very high already, make more carbon dioxide and release it into your blood, and then it will cause Bohr effect. So the effect of Bohr effect is your curve will shift to the left hand side. So you see here. So inilah gap ni kami panggil Bohr effect. So it is regulation of oxygen binding by hydrogen ion. Kerana dia is regulated by the hydrogen ion punya. Also carbon dioxide lah. Okay. So if you still remember that the carbon dioxide transport in our blood, you will know that in bicarbonate ion pathway, because you know that the main pathway in carbon dioxide is bicarbonate ion, right? About 80%, up to 80% is all other bicarbonate ion pathway. You still know that when in bicarbonate ion pathway, the final product is bicarbonate ion and also hydrogen ion, right? So that is why the hydrogen ion is, so that's why that when your carbon dioxide is increasing in your blood, your hydrogen ion will also increase, and then this will change your lower your pH value. Your hydrogen ion, when your blood is accumulated with the hydrogen ion very much, meaning that your pH value is also will be decreased lah. Will decrease lah because more hydrogen ion lah. So apa macam tu kerana carbon dioxide terlalu tinggi. Okay, so that's right. So it will cause the Bohr effect. So dia akan shift to the left hand side. Okay, so apa maksudnya? Apa ni? Kenapa dia macam ni? So when your partial pressure of carbon dioxide increase, your hydrogen ion in the blood will also increase, since more carbonic acid is produced. Alright, bicarbonate acid is produced, and then finally it will dissociate into bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion. So your hydrogen ion will also increase in your cell tissue part. So it will resulting the low pH value. So when your pH is decreasing, your partial pressure of carbon dioxide increase mainly is due to the high metabolic activity in the tissue. So now your tissue is needed to receive high carbon oxygen for metabolism. Okay, so if you look this diagram, if it's tadi saya cakap terbalik. The left hand side is the curve that normal curve. Ini normal punya curve. Normal punya meaning is in the vested yang kami berhad punya. Yang right hand side is the curve that we are in the exercising, meaning your pH value is very low. Sorry. So meaning that your curve is shift to the right hand side. Shift to the right, not left. Shift to the right. So when it shift to the right hand side, meaning that your hemoglobin now is lower affinity toward the oxygen. Maknanya your oxygen tak mau hemoglobin lah. Oxygen masa ni memang dia tak akan bind dekat hemoglobin punya. And reversely dia akan release banyak oxygen. So if you know that in the gaseous exchange we have the lung part and also muscle part, right? So in the muscle part, all the oxygen, all the oxyhemoglobin that we reach the muscle part, it will directly release the oxygen compared to the resting state. Now, in resting state, not necessarily all the oxygen will be released, but in the Bohr effect manner, when the curve is shift to the right hand side, your pH value is very low, meaning that the cell is require many oxygen. So now your hemoglobin is not very is dia tak suka oxygen punya lah. So kalau dia tak suka, memang dia akan kick out all the oxygen out. Memang macam girlfriend lah. Girlfriend kakak tak mau kamu lah. Keluar sekarang. Dia akan keluar lah. Yang ni left hand side one, investing state, boleh lah kawan-kawan dekat rumah lah. Teman lagi dekat rumah boleh lah. Tapi yang ni in the Bohr effect, kalau dia ada Bohr effect, memang girlfriend awak tak mau awak lah. Memang ada kick you out lah. Because the affinity your oxygen is very low now. Because your cell tissue nak oxygen. Dia nak oxygen untuk buat aktiviti lah. So the Bohr effect. So this is the summary of the Bohr effect. Lower pH due to production of hydrogen ion, and then hemoglobin will release oxygen, and hemoglobin will bind with the hydrogen ion. So now your hemoglobin is bind to the hydrogen ion. You still remember the carbon dioxide transport in blood. The final product, hydrogen ion, actually will bind with the hemoglobin lah. Bind the hemoglobin. So that is why the curve is looked like this. In the Bohr, if shift to the right. Okay, so that's all for Bohr effect. So okay, so I think any question? So yang paling penting, Bohr effect paling penting is shift to the right hand side. The curve is shift to the right hand side, and then the affinity of oxygen is decreasing. Is decreasing, meaning dia akan release banyak oksigen kepada sel tisu semua. Kenapa dia macam ni? Kerana carbon dioxide in your blood is increasing and their pH value is decreased. Semua ni relationship awak kena tahu jangan confuse lah. If you confuse, then semua salah lah. Konsep teori semua salah. So awak kena alert lah semua teori konsep. Okay, so Bohr effect finish. So now I will proceed to breathing mechanism. Okay, no question. Okay, so I think breathing mechanism, I think this one inspiration versus expiration, I think all of you are very familiar lah. Because I think this one in Stpm, you already learned it. What are the situation when you inspirate? You situation when you expirate. Macam mana awak nafas kan, awak nafas ada yang masuk air, masuk udara dekat dalam dan juga keluarkan udara kan. So masukkan udara apa what is your lung effect? What does your lung make? So you know that in inspiration, your rib cage will move up and out, right? And then your muscle external, your external intercostal muscle will contract, right? Contract, and then the internal will relax. Internal will relax, and then your diaphragm will contract also, will contract and move down, and then your thoracic cavity will be increasing, and then your muscle of the diaphragm will be contract, then muscle become flatten and move downward, and then your air will become form, awak akan dapatkan udara lah. So ini inspiration lah. So expiration is that your rib cage is pull down, ini pull up, awak akan macam ni kan, awak macam ada dia ada macam up sikit lah. Tapi when you breathe, when you expiration, during expiration, your rib cage is pull down, macam relax lah. Okay, and then your diaphragm will be relax and move up, and then your thoracic cavity will be decreasing, and then your internal intercostal muscle will be contract, while the external intercostal muscle is relaxed. And also the pressure in the lung is increasing, and then the air is pushed out. Release out your air lah. Macam keluarkan udara dekat paru-paru semua lah. So this is the breathing mechanism, the basic breathing mechanism that you already learned in SPM lah. Inspiration versus expiration. Okay, so now in STPM, we will not learn about this only. We will learn about the breathing control. Meaning that we know that breathing is involuntary action. Bila masa awak akan breathe kan, awak akan nafas, even you tidur ke, semua akan nafas punya, semua akan nafas punya. You know nafas that orang itu mati kan. You know that is an involuntary action. But sometimes we know that in certain situations, especially when you are doing the exercise, you will find that awak akan nafas banyak kali compared to awak dekat behat dia. Macam sekarang saya nafas normal je. Nafas normal je. Macam awak pun nafas normal je. It's normal one. But when you are doing exercise or you are very panic or in highly stress or nervous, when you are very nervous, you will find that your pernafasan awak sangat tinggi punya. Your breathing rate is very high. Like your normal person, the breathing rate in normal person is about 70 per minute like that lah. But when you are in the certain exercise, you will find that your breathing rate can up to 100. So why is like that? Because we have the receptor that control the breathing, our breathing rate. Memang kenafasan kami akan dikontrol oleh satu receptor. We will call it is controlled by the receptor. So actually there are two main control. So the main control, the main computer system, we can say it is the main computing system lah. Dia akan detect punya. Dia akan receptor. So the main control is what you call as receptor lah. Receptor ni dia macam CPU. Not CPU, monitoring. Dia akan check punya. Dia akan pergi. Dia macam polis lah. Dia macam polis, dia akan check punya. Sama ada dia nak nafas banyak kali atau stop cukup lah. Macam rehat cukup lah. Dia sama ada dia nak increase your breathing rate or maintain your breathing rate. Dia tak akan decrease punya, tak akan increase punya. Kalau decrease, memang orang tu dia ada something problem at there lah. Something problem at there normally is obese or you have the cardiovascular disease or hypertonic chronic disease lah. But in normal situation, your receptor either is detected, either dia nak send information kepada kamu bahawa increasing your breathing rate or maintain your breathing rate only. Okay, so this receptor dia akan monitor punya. Okay, when it monitor, dia detect something, dia akan send information will send the transmission to the respiratory center. Respiratory central. Respiratory central is the point that it control our respiration style. Either it want to inspiration or expiration. So this one that you learn now lah. Either dia nak focus on inspiration or dia nak focus on inspiration or dia nak balance. So this is what we call as respiratory central lah. And then finally is the respiratory muscle which our effector. So inilah effect dia. Either dia nak ini banyak ke atau ini banyak ke. Up to them lah. So ini adalah semua effector dia lah. So kami akan belajar macam mana control. So there are two type of receptor that we want to learn is first type is what we call as mechanoreceptor or another name in your book, I think Oxford or Sasbadi, they're using stretch receptor, STRETCH ini punya. Stretch receptor. Okay, both are acceptable. Either you want to use mechano or stretch, both are acceptable. Okay, another one is what we call as chemoreceptor. Okay, so we will more focus on chemoreceptor lah, but it is not say that mechano is not important, it is also important. Okay. Okay, so normally mechanoreceptor, the location of this receptor is allocated in the bronchial tree. That help to the main function is to help the expansion in the lung. Dia dekat dekat lung punya, dekat sini punya. Dia dekat sini punya. The stress receptor or mechanoreceptor, they are located here, bronchial tree one. Okay. Okay. So normally it responds to extensive stretching up of the lung during large inspiration, and then it will send the impulse to expiratory central. Okay, so when it is stimulated, ini receptor ni, kalau dia stimulate, bila dia akan stimulate, when the lung is stretching up very fast, very extreme, meaning that during inspiration state, you know that all this will happen, right? But when it is happen very in high what you call it, extensive manner, meaning that when big cage is pushed upward, maybe they are push in normal situation, they are push macam ni je, push like like this lah, they are push dekat sini je. Tapi in the extensive situation, dia akan push dekat sini. Very far away from the normal part. So when it is stimulated, when it is have the situation like this, when it is stimulated, dia akan stop ni. Kerana dia nak protect the lung. Because our lung expansion cannot too large one. If too large, when your lung is stretching too large, too excessive, banyak kali memang your lung will be destroyed. Your lung lifespan will be decreased lah. Akan menguangkan lifespan dia lah. So ini akan protect dia. So when the stretching is very occur rapidly, dia akan stimulate, dia akan send the impulse to the expiratory central. So that it will result in inhibition. So dia akan stop inspiratory central lah. So inilah respiratory central. So respiratory central, I already said there are two types. Either is inspiratory central or expiratory central. So inspiratory central, when it is stimulated, dia akan pergi inspiration. Expiratory central, when it is stimulated, dia memang akan pergi ke expiration. So ini mechanoreceptor, when it is stimulated, dia akan activate the expiratory central. So when it is expiratory central, dia akan minimize the inspiration rate. So it will prevent the lung overstretching when the ventilatory demand is high. So during heavy exercise, although during the heavy exercise, you need to increase your ventilation rate. Awak kena breathe banyak kali, tapi breathe tak boleh terlalu banyak. Kalau terlalu banyak, memang lung awak tak boleh tahan. When your lung tak boleh tahan, memang orang itu akan mati cepat-cepatnya. So you see the people, normally the people in the gym room, you see that the person suddenly pengsan, then suddenly mati punya. They do the very heavy exercise. They take a gym and then ambil barang yang berat-berat itu, wah macam hebat kan. Tapi if you are not very carefully in your body, it will destroy your lung one. When this receptor is already destroyed, if your lung destroyed, meaning that when you do this heavy exercise, your lung will have the higher probability to be burst one. Dia akan pecah. And then once it pecah, memang keadaan gases actually occur, and then the people will die in very few seconds. Dia macam heart attack one. You know that heart attack is very want to let people die is very easy, right? Normally just few minutes. Same as the lung, because lung also the gases actually also very essential, very important of the survival to us. You know oxygen gain, memang kami akan mati. So ini very so this one is very protective. It is a protective receptor lah that protect us, protect the lung one. So you need to know lah. Okay. Okay. So another receptor is chemoreceptor. So you see this chemo meaning dia akan kelipat dengan chemical substance. It is the receptor that monitor the chemical substance one. And then there are two types of chemoreceptor, peripheral and central. Okay, so these two types of chemoreceptor, the location are different. So peripheral chemoreceptor is located at the carotid and aortic body, meaning it is located at the heart punya. Dia dekat jantung punya. Dia dekat you see, dia dekat part untuk jantung punya, near the heart one. And the central chemoreceptor is located in the medulla oblongata. So at here lah, inilah, at here, medulla oblongata. So the receptor that the central is at the medulla oblongata, and then the peripheral is located near the heart, we call as carotid and aortic bodies. So normally the function is to detect the change of pH, but the change of pH detection is different. Peripheral is detected the blood. Dia detect blood punya. Kerana dia dekat heart, dia near the heart, so dia akan detect the blood pH. And then the central, dia bukan blood, it will detect the cerebrospinal fluid. Ini dia adalah liquid dekat otak kami. Ini dekat otak kami. Otak kami ada satu liquid kami we call as cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid ini liquid dia. Dia akan detect the pH change in this liquid. So kena alert lah. So totally better. Although the function is same, detect the change of pH, but the detection destination is different. Peripheral is detect the blood, and then the central one is detect the cerebrospinal fluid. And then the location are totally different also. Peripheral is located at the carotid and aortic body, and then the central is located in the medulla oblongata. Okay. Another one is about respiratory central. I already explained it. So inspiratory central, there are two types, inspiratory central and expiratory central, yeah. And then the function is very simple. Inspiratory central, when it is stimulated, it will increase the rate of inspiration. And expiratory central, when it is stimulated, and it will increase the rate of expiration. And then the location normally is at the medulla oblongata also. Both are the medulla oblongata. Just they are located side by side only lah. Okay. Okay, so I think this one I just repeat. So how the partial pressure is controlled. Okay, now I will go through the control side. Okay, ini diagram lebih jelas sikit. Inilah when in the examination, the essay question normally. The essay question when they want you to write about the control of breathing mechanism in the lung, the human lung. You need to explain this what you call flow diagram lah. Ini flow diagram lah. If you're able to explain this, then you can score it lah. Okay, so what are the apa maksudnya? Okay, maksudnya. So the main situation is that when your partial pressure of carbon dioxide is increased. Meaning when you are doing exercise, paling penting awak buat exercise. Memang kan awak very famous example. If you doing exercise, you in logic awak dari kecil pun tahu lah. When you are lari banyak kali, lari very far, then you found that masa nafas banyak kali kan, kenapa? Siapa yang control tu? So when you know that, when you are doing exercise, I already mentioned banyak kali, even in Bohr effect also same. Bohr effect, you know that when you are very doing exercise, your partial pressure of carbon dioxide in blood is very high, and then this one will cause Bohr effect already. So ini Bohr effect, and then it also will cause the high concentration hydrogen ion. So ini dah boleh buat Bohr effect lah. Salah satu mechanism is Bohr effect lah. I already explained. And then another mechanism, although another mechanism is about our breathing rate. Our breathing rate. The Bohr effect is about the gaseous exchange, between the hemoglobin and oxygen. But this one is about the breathing mechanism. Macam mana the breathing rate that we occur. Because you need to increase the rate of gaseous exchange. You need to increase your respiration rate also. If your respiration rate, your breathing rate is not increased, macam mana dia buat gaseous exchange yang paling tinggi kan? So when your hydrogen ion in your blood is very high, very high, dia akan send signal, dia akan detected kepada dua-dua ini. So firstly, dia akan detected oleh chaotic and ionic body. So this one is about peripheral chemoreceptor. Your peripheral chemoreceptor will detect. Dia akan detect. Oh, dah detect lah. Your blood pH value is very low already. Dia akan detect. And then at the same time also, if your hydrogen ion is very, very high, it will diffuse, the hydrogen ion will diffuse into the cerebrospinal fluid one. So once your hydrogen ion is infused go to the cerebrospinal fluid, the central chemoreceptor will also detect it. Dia pun akan detect punya. Oh, hydrogen ion dekat fluid ni, cerebrospinal fluid ni pun sangat tinggi lah. So kalau dua-dua ni dia dah detect, memang dia stimulated, dia akan send impulse kepada inspiratory central. Dia akan send impulse dekat inspiratory central. So once it send the impulse into the inspiratory central, inspiratory central is already stimulated, dia pun akan send impulse kepada diaphragm and also muscle. So the nerve that involved in diaphragm is we call as phrenic nerve, and then the nerve involved in intercostal muscle we call as intercostal nerve. Okay, so once the inspiration or central is stimulated, it will go to this diaphragm, and then what does the diaphragm will do is diaphragm will contract, right? Diaphragm contract in intercostal muscle. One is contract, one is relaxed. That you don't learn about this in inspiration. So all the inspiration you need to mention out lah. All this this one is we call as effector. Ini apa yang what are your lung will do lah. Ini awak kena tulis semua lah. Okay. Kenapa macam ni? Once and then it will increase the ventilation rate. Okay, once the ventilation rate is very increased very high, as your lung is stretching excessively, your stress receptor will be stimulated, and then it will inhibit the inspiratory center, and then once it is inhibited, the expiratory center will be stimulated. So it is a repeated process. So dia macam ni lah. Chemoreceptor, when it is stimulated, it will go to inspiratory center, and then dia akan pergi ke phrenic nerve, cohesive nerve, inspiration, and then stress receptor is stimulated, and then it will give the positive effect to expiratory center, but give the negative effect to the inspiratory center. So dia akan stop the inspiration first lah, and then it will stimulate expiration, and then go to expiration, and then stress receptor is not stimulated, and then that's all. This is what we call as control of breathing during the exercise. So the first one is your chemoreceptor. If your chemoreceptor is not stimulated, then your breathing rate is normal as 10% as usual. But when you are doing very vigorous exercise, your pH value level of your blood or your cerebrospinal fluid is decreasing, then your chemoreceptor for peripheral and central chemoreceptor will be activated and stimulated. And then dia akan go through proses semua ni lah. And then this is the explanation lah. What I say just now. Okay. So I think that's all for breathing control. So any question, Ma? Any question or not? Okay, if no, then we will proceed to the last topic for today lah, lung volume. Okay, lung volume. So the very easy topic, lung volume, very easy topic only. You just want to memorize this graph only. If you know how to memorize this graph, then yeah, you already finish. Yeah, because this is about the lung volume. That our lung volume memang lung volume punya, kami punya lung volume, and then it represent the graph lah. So when we are breathing, when inspirate or expirate, the lung will change the volume one. Okay, so what you want to learn is about these terms. Okay, this tidal volume, inspiratory visual volume, vital capacity, residual volume, total lung volume, all these definition you need to know lah. So what are these? Tidal volume is that when your respiration rate is in normal state. You inhale and exhale, inspirate and expirate in normal way. Macam sekarang, normal way. Okay. So in your normal way, actually your lung volume is at here. Memang kurang je. Dia tak akan stress very high one. Normal je. Inilah what you call as tidal volume. Okay, another one is called as inspiratory reserve volume. This one is that the places, this is the volume that your lung will be inspirate after the tidal volume inhalation. Meaning after in normal situation, your lung volume is like this only. Akan macam ni je. But in inspiratory reserve volume, dia macam tak cukup lah, dia akan besar lagi. Dia akan besar, dia macam ni. Besar, dan macam ni. Ini we call as inspiratory reserve volume. So yang ni, kalau dia akan activated when you are inhale after a tidal volume inhalation. Meaning that when you are inhale, dia ada awak masuk air, semua ni actually inhale akan macam ni kan, your volume will be increase right. Dia akan macam ni. Should be your tidal volume should be macam ni. But now dah tak cukup lah. Your body cakap tak cukup. Dia akan besar lagi. So yang ni besar punya volume, we call as inspiratory reserve volume. So normal macam ni. Dia masih besar macam ni, memang besar macam ni, yang besar macam ni we call as inspiratory reserve volume. So ini volume ni in normal situation tak akan guna punya. Hanya akan digunakan apabila your tidal volume is not enough lah. When you inhale your air, your tidal volume tak cukup, then dia akan guna ni lah. And then same as the what we call as expiratory reserve volume. Expiratory reserve volume is that your lung volume is decreasing than normal. Meaning that when you exhale, awak akan release out all the air into out like. You still minimum dia macam tak ada air. Inilah expiratory reserve volume. So meaning that dia macam ni kan, in normal situation dia macam ni. But in expiratory dia akan kecilkan lagi. In normal expiration dia macam ni je. But in expiratory reserve volume dia akan kecil lagi. So you see here the volume is decreasing. So this is what called as expiratory reserve volume. Okay. And another one is we call as vital capacity. Okay, so you see here vital capacity and residual volume. So in senang cerita, vital capacity is the volume of air that can forcefully exhale after a forceful inhalation. After a maximum forceful inhalation, meaning that awak nafas kuat-kuat and then release out semua udara sekali. So ni awak nafas macam awak buat nafas tinggi, then release out all the air sekaligus. Ini we call as it is the volume that you involve vital capacity. Yang ni inspiratory reserve volume hanya involve in inspiration only. Even though tidal volume pun tak ada involve. And then expiratory reserve volume only involve in external expiration only. Tidal volume pun tak ada involve. Vital capacity will be involved these three. Ini tiga-tiga ni akan involve when these three combine together, we call as vital capacity lah. And then residual volume, what is it? Residual volume is that your volume of waste remain in the lung and cannot be exhaled even after a maximum forceful exhalation. Ini adalah safety one. Dia tak mau, even though your lung actually can be expand until very large until very large, but dia akan sediakan ruangan yang cukup untuk keselamatan. Kalau dia gunakan semua, memang lung awak akan pecah senang je. So dia akan residual volume. Residual volume ini dia akan not even involved in the respiration one. Tak akan guna punya. Memang dia akan ada gap punya. This is what we call a residual volume. Okay, and then total lung volume or total lung capacity. So inilah semua ni we call as total lung capacity. So when you total lung capacity. So normally in examination dia akan keluar calculation question lah. Memang dia akan bagi graph macam ni lah. Dan dia bagi tahu sini sampai sini dia akan bagi tahu calculate inspiratory reserve volume. You need to know lah where is inspiratory reserve volume. And then dia bagi or it already given or given that TLC is like this and then you need to calculate like this. So dia akan macam mathematics question lah, mathematics question very easy je lah. So the first important is you need to know the definition lah, and then you need to know the position lah. So actually you know this diagram, then that's all for this. So I think that's all for today. So any question? So I already finished up the breathing mechanism, human gases exchange part for this chapter. Next week I will proceed to the plant part and also the last part lah for this chapter. And then the another video I will enter chapter 8 lah, chapter 2 of the transport. So got question or not? Any question for today class? I think no question. So if no question, then we finish up our class by tonight. So okay, so we finish our class by tonight. So thank you for your attending. So see you next week. So bye and have a good rest. Bye.